In this video, we'll cover how to find your application and how to locate project information from existing TIP projects related to your application. So if you're coming back to an application you've started, you'll be able to find your project in the draft module of the eTIP. You'll want to select the correct council amendment. So in this case, under the draft module, we'll select call for projects temporary 27 to 31. But if you were filling out an application for DuPage Council, you'd want to make sure you're selecting that option. From here, we can see the project we've been working with, 13260001, is here at the bottom. We can then click into it and continue on editing the project. If you still needed to add information from an existing TIP ID, such as committed funding, down in the funding table, you could search for that project by typing the ID into the search bar at the top. For example, if this project had already been awarded Engineering 1 funds and a past call for project, we would want to locate that project to ensure the funding table is reflected in this application. And this was the case for 624-0028, the McCarthy Road Shared Use Path, where it received Engineering 1 funds and might be applying for construction funds in the future. So if we wanted to find that project, we can type the TIP ID into the top right search bar. And you'll notice that once we type in the project, the TIP ID, the project will come up here. But if we take out one of the dashes, no results are found. So it is case sensitive. We can then go to that project, where we can get the information on the project we need for the application. So here we can see that it has STP local funds programmed in 2029 for $144,000. We want to make sure that amount gets added into the project application. And additionally, we'll want to make sure the local match goes with it, along with any other funding in this table. These other tabs might also be of help. If you go to the IDs tab, if there's IDs on the existing project, you'll want to make sure those get pulled over to the existing application. Same with attachments. There might be some attachments that will be helpful to pull over to the existing application. We can now return to the application and add that information into the project. So again, if we go to the home screen, we'll find the draft module, select the correct amendment, or we can find our project. Once here, we'd add that additional funding into the funding table by editing the project and adding line items or modifying the line items. In this case, for presentation purposes, I'm going to move on. We can save those changes. And once we are complete with the application, you'll want to make sure it gets submitted for review. So once you've saved it, you can see that the submit for review option pops up here, and we can go ahead and submit for review. And after you submit your application, you are able to go back and unsubmit if you realize at a certain point that anything in the application needs to be edited prior to the close of the call for projects. To do that, we would select the pending review module and find the project. And the pending review module is just to the right of the draft module. And you can see that all the amendments line up. So again, we'll want to select the call for projects temporary 27 to 31. And now in the pending review, we can see our application is here. If we enter into the project, you can see that there's an unsubmit option in which we can select unsubmit. And that now gives us the ability to edit the project again, where we can go in, make any necessary updates, save changes, and finally, once you're done making those updates, submitting for review again. And that is how you can find your application with an eTIP and search for other projects. Thanks.